Every person carries a dream within them, a quiet flame that refuses to die. In The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho tells the story of Santiago, a shepherd who leaves behind the familiar to pursue a vision buried in his heart. His journey becomes a mirror of every human life, a quest not for riches, but for meaning. The greatest treasure, Coelho teaches, is not found at the destination, but along the path of becoming. Santiago's story begins with restlessness. He feels a pull towards something greater, though he cannot name it. Many feel this same whisper, the longing for purpose, the intuition that life holds more than routine. Coelho calls this the personal legend, the destiny written for each of us before we were born. To ignore it is to live half awake. To follow it is to begin truly living. The boy meets a wise old king named Melchizedek, who tells him that when you truly desire something, the universe conspires to help you achieve it. This is not magic, but alignment. When your intention is pure, life rearranges itself around your purpose. Faith is the bridge between what you see and what you know is possible. The journey begins the moment you choose to trust that whisper within. Santiago sells his flock and sets out for Egypt, chasing a dream of treasure near the pyramids. But as he travels, he discovers that every step is a lesson. His losses teach him humility. His encounters teach him patience. Coelho reminds us that destiny is never a straight line. The universe tests your faith not to punish you, but to strengthen your heart for the treasure ahead. The desert becomes Santiago's teacher. It shows him that silence has wisdom, that simplicity hides beauty, and that clarity often comes when the noise fades. The desert strips away comfort so that truth can surface. Every challenge you face is a mirror, revealing what still holds you captive. Growth is not about adding more, it's about letting go of fear, doubt, and disbelief. Santiago learns that the language of the world is not spoken in words, but in omens, subtle signs that guide those who pay attention. Coelho suggests that intuition is the voice of the soul, and it never lies. When you trust that quiet guidance, coincidences turn into confirmations. The heart, once ignored, begins to lead the way with unshakable wisdom. The alchemist himself appears not as a magician, but as a reminder. He tells Santiago that transformation happens through fire, that gold becomes pure only when it burns. Life refines us in the same way. Pain is not the end. It is the process through which we are purified. The soul becomes stronger through surrender, just as metal shines after the flame. Coelho uses alchemy as a metaphor for awakening. The true alchemist transforms fear into faith, doubt into discipline, and pain into purpose. The boy learns that the treasure he seeks outside has always lived within. What changes is not the world, but the way he sees it. Every experience becomes a reflection of inner growth. The external journey mirrors the internal one. Love enters Santiago's path in the form of Fatima, a desert woman who teaches him that true love does not chain, it frees. She supports his quest instead of holding him back. Coelho's message is clear. Love that demands sacrifice of the soul is not love, but attachment. Real love strengthens purpose. It never replaces it. When love aligns with destiny, it becomes sacred fuel for the journey. As Santiago nears the pyramids, he faces betrayal and loss once again. Yet this time he responds differently. The boy has changed. His heart no longer fears pain because it has found meaning in it. Maturity, Coelho suggests, is not avoiding struggle, but learning to face it with faith. When your purpose is clear, no obstacle can truly defeat you. The treasure, in a poetic twist, lies not in Egypt, but back where Santiago began. He had to travel the world to discover what was already his. Coelho reminds us that wisdom often begins with departure and ends with return. You go far to see that what you sought was within you all along. The purpose of the journey was never the gold. It was the awakening. The Alchemist is not a story about a boy. It's a story about all of us. We each hold dreams we fear to chase, whispers we silence, because the world tells us they're impossible. But the voice of the soul is persistent. It waits for us to listen. Every time you choose faith over fear, you take one step closer to your legend. Coelho invites us to see failure not as defeat, but as direction. When things fall apart, they often fall into place. Every closed door is an invitation to grow inwardly. The universe does not conspire against you. It conspires to bring you back to yourself. The obstacles that hurt you are often the teachers you most needed. The secret, the Alchemist tells Santiago, is to live in the present. The past holds regrets, and the future holds illusions. But the now is where miracles unfold. When you give your full attention to this moment, life begins to reveal its hidden language. The desert, once empty, becomes alive with signs. The world speaks most clearly to those who are still enough to listen. Coelho's message transcends culture and religion. The journey toward purpose is the journey toward God, whatever name you give him. The divine is not distant. It speaks through intuition, synchronicity, and silence. When you trust this dialogue, life feels less like chaos and more like choreography. You realize that every step, even the painful ones, was necessary for awakening. The Alchemist teaches that those who dare to dream will face doubt, rejection, and loss. But they will also taste a freedom unknown to those who never tried. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else matters more. The universe favors the brave because bravery aligns with creation itself. Life expands for those who move forward, despite trembling hands. The boy learns to follow the signs with humility, not arrogance. He realizes that destiny unfolds for those who serve something greater than ego. Coelho writes that when your heart is pure, your path becomes guided. Miracles appear not because the world changes, but because your perception awakens. Faith opens doors that logic cannot see. Every time Santiago listens to his heart, he finds the next step. Every time he ignores it, he loses his way. The lesson is timeless. Your heart already knows the path, but your mind often interferes. The courage to follow inner guidance is what separates wanderers from discoverers. The treasure is not gold. It's alignment between soul and action. The Alchemist warns that fear of failure is more dangerous than failure itself. Fear kills more dreams than defeat ever could. To live with purpose, you must be willing to fail gracefully. Every mistake carries the seed of revelation. When you act from love instead of fear, even your missteps lead to miracles. Santiago's transformation symbolizes the awakening of the human spirit. He begins as a dreamer and becomes a believer. The same path awaits anyone willing to listen to their intuition and act upon it. You become the alchemist of your own life when you realize that turning experiences into wisdom is the real goal. Coelho's writing whispers that destiny is not discovered, but remembered. The signs, the dreams, the coincidences, they are reminders of what your soul already knows. When you align with your purpose, the universe becomes your companion. You stop chasing meaning and start living it. The journey itself becomes the treasure. At the heart of The Alchemist lies a paradox. You must leave everything to find yourself, and you must lose everything to realize you were never lost. The boy, as search for treasure, becomes the story of humanity, as search for truth, the return to the heart. When you stop seeking outside and turn inward, you find peace disguised as simplicity. The book ends not with fireworks, but with stillness. Santiago finally rests under the same sky where it all began. He understands that everything was connected, that nothing was wasted. Every loss, every tear, every moment of faith brought him home to himself. The real treasure is awareness. The reward for the journey is awakening. The Alchemist endures because it speaks a language beyond time. It reminds us that destiny is not about finding a path, but walking it with faith. Every soul has a personal legend to fulfill. The question is not whether you have one, said, and whether you will listen when it calls. The universe whispers to the brave. In the end, Santiago teaches us that the only real failure is not trying. The desert, the wind, and the stars all conspired to remind him, and us, that purpose is not a destination, but a direction. When you follow it with an open heart, every step becomes divine. The treasure is not what you find, it's who you become.